We are very pleased to present in Italy your latest book, which is really colorful and full of beautiful recipes. I would like to start asking you, for our Italian viewers, if you could please make an introduction of yourself.
So I started off when I was around 15, and I was running track in high school, and I just really liked it. So I thought if I could do that full time and make a career out of being an athlete, that would be ideal. That would be the perfect job for me. So I started getting serious about it and looked at what the best athletes in the world were doing, what their training was like. And I found that the top athletes in the world really weren't that different from the average athletes. It was really the same kind of training. So then I wondered how it was the top rose to the top of the other state average if they're training the same. And I found it really had to do with recovery, just how fast you get your body to regenerate and renew itself after a workout. So I started looking into that and trying to find out what made recovery faster. And I found that nutrition played a big part in it. When I ate better, I felt better and recovered more quickly and could train more in less time. So I started to really focus on nutrition. And I didn't try to be vegan. I just wanted to eat a diet that would really help. And I tried eating lots of other ways, high carb, low carb, high protein, low protein, a whole bunch of diets. And some were better than others, but nothing was really amazing. And then I tried completely plant-based, a completely vegan diet. And at first it didn't work. I was hungry a lot of the time. I was tired. And I didn't recover well. But then I learned how to do it properly and eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods. And that's what made the whole structure of my book was really just learning what worked well for me and developing a set of principles that then could work for other people as well.
Could you please tell us how many books did you write, and which is the order, why one first and then another one?
Sure, I wrote a book called Thrive first, which I don't think is in Italian yet. I think it's only the cookbook, but the first one is really just about that. It's the principles, the things that I found worked really well for me. And then I did a fitness book, and obviously that's to do more with training. It still has nutrition in there, but it's more training. And then I did a book that's mostly recipes, but it also has a bunch of environmental, kind of looking at the way food is produced and just looking at more efficient ways of doing it. So land, water, fossil fuel, trying to conserve that while producing more food, so more of an environmental book. And then the one that is in Italian now, that's the recipe book that has all the photos. I did Ironman triathlon full-time professionally for 7 years, and that was kind of my main thing, was racing. Then I started a business with a friend. We make something called Vega. That's been what's taken up the most time for the last little while. And then a magazine as well. I started a magazine called Thrive, named after my book, of course, where I interview interesting people and people who've done really well and trying to learn from them. It's not about being vegan or being vegetarian. It's just really about success. So people who have, but in my books, yeah, I write mostly about recovery and performance and just eating the right foods at the right time to perform at your best, and obviously all plant-based. And I think that the benefits to plant-based are pretty broad for athletes. I think reducing inflammation is huge, so that increases efficiency, which just makes you a better athlete right away if you don't have to work as hard to move because you're more efficient. Increase the range of motion, so that means you're less likely to get injured. And also food that digests more easily, you spend less energy to digest and assimilate it, which means you have more energy. So there's quite a few things that can really benefit eating this way. Also, sleep quality gets better, so you sleep deeply, and you wake up and you're fresh and you're rested and you won't crave coffee or sugar. And then you don't need to sleep as much either because the quality is so high, the quantity can be lower. So a lot of benefits I've found in there that worked well for me as an athlete too, that really made a big difference.
Last day I had your book with me, and I showed it to somebody who's very passionate in cooking, and he started to read some of your recipes, and he was scared because he said, where about am I going to find all these strange ingredients? Shall we give an idea of where and how expensive and how much time do we really need to find these ingredients?
I'm not sure what it's like in Italy. In North America, it's quite easy to get now. A lot of the ingredients are just really at any grocery store, and you don't have to make them exactly. You can always substitute. I personally don't even make recipes as much anymore because I just eat with the same principles. I just don't spend as much time preparing them. So you can take shortcuts for sure if you just want the benefits, but you don't want to make all the recipes. So you can just follow the principles of the book and still do really well. I know in North America, maca and chlorella, different foods like that have become very popular. But if they're not in Italy, if they're hard to find, you can substitute with other things. And
can you give us an example for what it is about? Is this a dessert or is it a breakfast?
it's more like a breakfast. So lots of good clean carbs in that, that burn really well. Obviously, blueberries have antioxidants and are a good form of carbohydrate. It kind of looks like a dessert, but it's functional too, and it tastes really good. So what I try to do with this recipe book is make food taste good as well. It's not just about being functional, whereas my other books, it's more about just the function, whereas this one it's a little more involved, but it also will taste better, I think, to most people. But I'll talk with the Italian publisher and see if they're interested in doing the first book as well, because I think that one would be popular in Italy as well.
So apparently, your recipes are not only about raw food. This is completely cooked.
Yeah.
So is it cooked food? Could we say cooked food is good as well for sport people?
Yeah, I certainly don't think you need to eat completely raw. I think that's, there's benefits to eating raw, but not 100% raw. So some things that I do always eat raw, though, is fats. I don't like having cooked oils. I like raw oil, raw nuts, raw seeds, but some things like carbohydrate, it's okay. Like sprouted bread, like in that picture there, sprouted bread I think is very good. It's quite high in protein, but yeah, it is cooked. But it just depends what it is you're eating. I think quinoa and buckwheat and foods like that, you can sprout them and have them raw, or you can cook them, and that's fine too.
Okay. I can see here a very nice mojito di cavolo riccio. I would like to ask you, what is the importance for the sport people to drink greens?
Yeah, greens are really good for a few reasons. One, there's a lot of minerals. So minerals are electrolytes, and they help rehydrate after you sweat. You sweat magnesium, potassium, iodine, sodium, all these things that when you get greens, you get that back in. Plus lots of chlorophyll. That's what makes it green, is that green chlorophyll that is in the plants. And when you have that, that reduces inflammation. So after a workout, you want to bring down inflammation as quickly as possible, because that's going to then, of course, speed recovery, and it will increase functionality. So greens are very, very good for athletes. I think, big leafy green salad every day and a green smoothie is definitely important, or some green juice like in the book there.
Okay, greens, and every color seems to have some very important functionalities for the body. What about this one?
Yeah, so with beets are really good for a lot of things. Nitrous oxide production. So in athletes, it will actually help you produce nitrous oxide, which means you can perform better. So that's a really good pre-workout one as well. And also, just again, back to the minerals. Minerals are so important because there's not as many minerals in the soil as there used to be. So when we can get a concentrated version, like in juice, it really helps.
I would like to ask you if you have some foods that you have studied and that you have found good for before the training, depending which training, during the training if it's necessary to drink or eat something, and after the training to recover faster for inflammations, for example.
Yeah, I think, well, for reducing inflammation, ginger and turmeric is really good. So that's going to help if you mix that in to a drink. But also, yeah, greens are the big one, keeping alkaline. And digestibility too, both before and after. It's really important to have foods that digest very easily, because when you're exercising, of course, you want muscles to be fueled. And for that to happen, you need blood circulating a lot. So you need oxygen in your muscles, and you don't want a lot of blood to have to go to your stomach to digest food that's hard to digest, because then there's less oxygen in your muscles. So digestibility is really important. So that's why I often have a smoothie right after a workout, because of course your body's tired after a workout, and you want to allow as much blood as possible to be in your arms and your legs, delivering oxygen, removing waste products. So you don't want a big heavy meal sitting there. Also, right after a workout, about a 4-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio is really good. That will help speed recovery. And pre-workout, sometimes, depending on what you're doing, of course, it depends on the length or the intensity of the workout. But if it's really intense and short, you want something like a date where it's high in glucose and has a lot of sugar that gets in your system, gives you energy right away. But if it's a longer, slower workout, you're going to want a little bit more fat, a little bit of protein, so some hemp protein or pea protein or rice protein. Then for fat, any type of raw nuts or seeds is good for that. So if you're going for a long bike ride or a long run, you want a little bit of fat and protein right before as well.
Are you still competing?
No, I haven't competed professionally for a while. I still do recreationally. Like I've done a few half marathons this year. I run or bike every day, but just for fun, not for trying to be competitive. But yeah, I still do half marathons and some other running races, but no triathlons, just because it takes so much time and just got a lot of things to do these days.
How much is it important for you, the preservation of the animal lives? How much in the diet count for you the fact that you are not killing any animals to eat?
Well, it started off me just trying to be a better athlete, and I didn't really know about other aspects because I was only 15 when I started. But since I've learned more about what this is about, not just about performance, but also environmental issues around food production. If you cannot kill animals to get your food, of course, I think that's a good thing. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of benefits, obviously, to eating plant-based, and I know some people are they do it just for the fact that then they don't have to kill animals, which I think is great.
Well, I thank you very much for the time you gave us. I want once again show the book that we are promoting here in Italy, which is La Cucina Energetica, which is a book full of beautiful recipes and some explanations of your philosophy. And the recipes are focused for sport people which want to know what to eat before the performance, the sport performance, during, and how to better recover afterwards. Did I say right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah, very
correct?
good. Good description.
Okay, so hope to see you again, maybe in Los Angeles soon. And
Yeah,
okay, have a nice
or maybe
day.
I'll come to Italy sometime. I'll let you know.
Come to visit Veggie Channel. Please watch our videos. We have more than 500 videos nowadays on our channel. Most of them in Italian, but you may find a lot of interesting also in English, some in German, some in Russians as well. We are growing up little by little. Thank you for your
Great.
time. See you again. Have
Thank
a
you. Thanks for helping spread the word.